Okay, so that last video was kind of awkward, and this one probably is not going to be too much better, and maybe I'll get better at this as I go along, and maybe I'll just make this like my own private thing so no one has to suffer through this, but whatever. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I don't know. Um, First, I'd like to say that, the guys on YouTube have been amazingly helpful and like the best source of information I could find, and so, if I inspire you, fantastic. If not, hey, I'm just another one of the guys, so, you know, no big thing. But I'm going to go ahead and take this time to tell you what steps I've taken. Let me first start off by saying I live in the state of Arkansas, and yes, that is as bad as it sounds. But this process hasn't been as hard for me as I thought it was going to be. Basically, my biggest roadblock was kind of lack of information, and so I kind of did things a little bit backwards. I found out about a transgender group that meets every first Saturday of the month or whatever, and I went to it, and they gave me some information about the name of a doctor that I could go see, and so I went to my doctor first off, and he just was completely baffled and had no idea what to do. He was supportive, but he wanted somebody else who had a little more information to, consult on the situation. And so he ran my blood work and did all my main tests and then said, yeah, come back when you find somebody who knows more. So that was what I did with him, and then I got the information for this other doctor who specializes in transgender, and I went and saw him, and he said that I had to go see a therapist. I didn't really want to go see a therapist, and he asked me, and I said, no, I don't really care. I know I'm a dude, and I don't need somebody else to tell me that, and I don't want anybody in my head anyways. But he insisted. He said there's something called the Harry Benjamin Standards of Care, and I may have screwed that up, but it's something along those lines. You can Google it if you need to, that most medical professionals follow, and one of the things is that you have to have a clearance from a therapist, which I actually ended up receiving this week. So now I'm just waiting on the letter to get to me and to get to them, and possibly next week I'll be starting my T-shots, which would be fantastic, because this has been a long process. I mean, I'm 32, but I thought that I would start this around February. This is now April 21st. So if you're thinking that this is going to be a easy, quick thing, it's not. So onward for what I did. I went to the therapist, but also in the meantime, I decided to go ahead and legally change my name. That has been a huge step forward in lots of different things. Through work, I have something called prepaid legal. I'm sure you're familiar with it. And it allowed me to, they paid for a lawyer, and so he drafted I want to change my name thing, because Arkansas doesn't have like a form or anything. You can actually go online and print off something or have somebody make up something pretty much, and, you pay the filing fee, and then the judge looks it over and decides if he'll sign it or not. Well, in all honesty, mine got kicked back the first time because my lawyer said he wants to change his name. Technically, that's correct. Legally, not so much. So they kicked it back and said you have to say she. Now, that sucked a lot, and I was not really pleased about that, but sometimes you got to play the game, and you got to go by their way of doing things versus really what you want to do, but whatever gets it done, gets it done. So we sent it back saying she and all that crap, and the judge signed off on it. So I legally changed my name. Awesome. So that was a great first step, and I took that to my job, and I said, I've legally changed my name, and I'm changing my gender as well. Well, in the state of Arkansas, and this probably applies to a lot of different states, but they have this really stupid rule that you can change your gender on your driver's license and your passport, but you cannot change your gender on your birth certificate or your social security card, which doesn't have your gender on it anyways. So anyhow, my work was fantastic. They got together with a lawyer because they'd never had anything like this before and didn't really know what to do. And they drafted this awesome email that basically said, this is what I'm doing. We support him. If you have any questions or comments, that's fine, but we will not tolerate any harassment. I mean, this is fantastic for any place, but especially in the state of Arkansas. And so that's been, really easy. I changed everything that had my name on it. After getting the legal signed judge court order thing, I immediately first went to the Social Security office because that's what they told me to do first. And they didn't give me any problems. They didn't change my gender, but they did change my name without a whole lot of headache. I left there and I went to the driver's license, the DMV. They didn't give me any problems, but they said, well, I'm not sure if I can change your gender marker. Well, I had previously emailed the DMV, and the head supervisor had emailed me back and sent me an email that says, there is no form to change your name. You just go up there and say, this is my paperwork, change my name. And then you just tell them to change your gender and they do it. So when I went up there, the girl was obviously like, I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on a second. Sorry. I don't know if I can do this or not. And I said, well, I have this letter. And she read the letter, and the letter apparently had the right name on it because she goes, oh, well, this is Supervisor so-and-so. Click and change me to male. Sweet. So, then I went back to work and said, look, I've changed my gender on this. And they said, well, we will go by whatever you want to identify as. Whatever you present as your full-time gender is what we will honor. So I was like, awesome, let's go with male because that's where we're headed. And so then I went to the bank, taking the paperwork for the legal contract, and changed everything there. And then slowly it's just been a matter of changing, my insurance, my mail, my good Lord. You don't really know what all your name is on until suddenly you're just like, oh my God, I cannot get another piece of paper that has, I have 2 different names going right now. And I mean, it's every time I get something new, I'm like, okay, I need to contact them and change this apparently. And so that's pretty much where I'm at now. I will tell you that doing all that, A, made me feel so much better, but B, also, my therapist was so incredibly impressed and so much more willing to believe that I knew what I was doing, that I wasn't crazy, that, I mean, I've gone through and I've changed my name, I've transitioned at work, that doesn't really seem like there's going to be a going backwards or I'm questioning this or whatever. And I've also lived as Preston outside of work with everybody else I know for about 6 years. So that's the steps I took, and that's where I'm at. Maybe you find this information helpful and informative. Maybe not, but I'm also documenting, my journey like everybody else on here does, and so that's as far as I've gotten. So we'll hope that next week is cool, and maybe next week we'll do that whole my first shot on tea video. Later.